Hello everyone. We've got some updates for the Spark today, some cool new things on the air intake, and I have a cool new gauge to show you, so let's get into it. Alright, so the gauge that I have for you guys today is an OBDII gauge. It plugs into your OBDII port on your car and displays everything that your computer can read out. The gauge is also a scan tool. You can check your engine lights and clear those codes if you have any. And it also acts as a trip computer, keeping track of all your gas mileage and your trip data from any long road trips or anything you do like that, your commutes back and forth to work. It'll keep track of your fuel economy for the tank as you fill up and as you use your fuel. It also keeps track of about 300 hours of driving data, so you can get that on the computer and check that out and compare and see if you need to change any of your driving styles to optimize your gas mileage and performance and things like that. So we're going to check this out. I've got it all hooked up in the car and we're going to see just all the features. I'll kind of do a short explanation of how you work the thing, and hopefully you guys like it, and I'm going to probably put these up on the website for sale and get these going here pretty soon. Alright, so we're in the car and you can see here on the windshield I've got the gauge plugged in and hooked up and stuck to the inside of the windshield with the provided suction cup mount, and the wiring just has one plug, goes right there in the side, and I ran it down the weather stripping, just tucked it on the inside there, the weather stripping, and it goes right down and plugs into the OBDII port just below your fuse panel in the dash. So that's how you hook it up. It's really simple, straightforward, one plug and the suction cup mount. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the car on now and show you some of the features. Okay, so we've come outside the garage so we can fire the car up and check out some of the things that the gauge does. I'm going to get it started up here, and you'll see everything comes on in just a few seconds. And it gets warmed up and starts reading all the gauges that I have it set to. You can change all these different gauges and displays to show whatever you'd like it to show. And right now you can see I've got it set up to show the engine coolant temperature, the vehicle speed, the air intake temperature, map pressure. It calculates your horsepower. I think that's set to kilowatts right now. That's not quite right. And then it also shows your current miles per gallon, just the way you're driving the car and how much input you're giving the throttle. But you can change all those, and I'll show you how to do that here in just a second. So if you want to change the different gauges that this little computer reads out, you get here onto the gauge screen and you hit the down arrow, and then you can hit the up arrow and change it to any different display that you would like that this thing has available, which is just anything your computer can read out. Give it engine coolant temperature there, engine RPMs there, get your air intake temperature there, change this around to just about anything you want, so you can monitor your different parameters coming out of your computer. So there are 4 buttons on the scan gauge here, and they're off to the side. Let's see if I can zoom in so you can see them. They're just right here on the right hand side. There's a back button, a home button, and an up and down. That helps you navigate through the different sections of the gauge here. You can see it's got scan, gauges, trip, review, fuel, alarm, setup, default, and about. So those are all the different things you can navigate through on the gauge here, and you can use the scan tool to check your codes, check your engine light, and clear those out. The gauges are primarily what I've been using it for, so you can just see the different data that the Spark doesn't offer from the factory down here in the regular instrument cluster, and it's kind of annoying they don't give you a temperature gauge or anything like that. So we got this little gauge here, we can throw it up and see what temperatures we're currently at as you're driving around and having some fun. So as you can see right now, I've got it set up to show your vehicle speed sensor with the miles per hour, ignition timing, your engine RPMs, your engine coolant temperature, your air intake temperature sensor, and the throttle position percentage there. So this is a very neat little gauge. Can show you just about anything you need to know. It's nice, small, it's pretty bright at night. Very easy to set up, very simple to understand. Comes with all of the instructions and everything you need for it. And I think you guys will really like this. So check it out on my website and stay tuned for more updates. Okay, now for some really exciting stuff. Most of you know I've been working on a few things for the Spark here to develop. Trying to get some more performance parts out here on the market for our little cars, try and make them a little bit more fun. So I've been working on an air intake kit, and the very first piece to the kit, a prototype piece, showed up in the mail just the other day. So it's the first chance I've had to check it out. I've got it installed here on the car, and looks like it's going to fit really well and work pretty good. So I'm going to show you guys that little piece right here real quick, and as more pieces come in and I get the whole thing assembled, I'll keep you updated, and then once everything fits and is good, I will put it up for sale and we'll get these things rolling as well so everybody can have a cool air intake on their Spark. Alright guys, so the first piece of the puzzle here is our mass airflow sensor tube. The factory one here, as you can see, is built into the top of the air box. The mass airflow sensor bolts into there so it can read all the air going into the engine. So what I've done here is designed a nice smooth aluminum piece that the factory mass airflow sensor will bolt into. I have to go to the hardware store and get a few bolts to tighten that thing up, but it fits in there really well. It just drops in with the 2 bolts and the plug, and then it clamps into the air elbow that goes down into the throttle body, which this piece is going to be replaced by a nice smooth silicone tube. It's not going to have all this corrugation or this extra little chamber here off to the side. So this piece is in the works. It's coming soon. This is just the first piece that I've got to test out so far, and it looks like it's going to work really well. We're going to attach the mount to this and come off and bolt it down here on the factory location where this lower air box bolts into. So with this new mass airflow sensor tube, that's part 1 of probably about 3 pieces that's going to be in this air intake kit. So we'll have the new smooth tube, the new mass airflow tube, and we'll get a nice cone filter that sits right here and fits in this tight little space. I got to take some measurements here today and find just the perfect filter to fit in there so we can get a nice looking, nice sounding aftermarket performance air intake system on our little Sparks here. Okay guys, well this has been the first update video really for the Spark and all the parts that I'm working on coming out with. Stay tuned on the air intake kit. That should be maybe a couple more weeks. I'll get the rest of the prototype parts in, check them out, make sure they work well, and then we'll get that production rolling. Be sure to check out that OBDII gauge if you like that. Keep an eye on your temperatures and all the other cool data that thing has, and we'll check you out here soon.
Nope.